Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel, and for today's video we will be discussing about another topic in physics, and it is about free fall motion. When we say free fall motion, it is a type of uniform accelerated motion wherein the acceleration or the gravitational acceleration is constant, and that is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared. So that is what we call the gravitational acceleration, denoted as small letter g. Then when we say also free fall motion, it is a motion wherein the object is moving or traveling in vertical motion, pa-vertical. So ngayon, we have the following formula that we can utilize to solve some examples involving free fall motion. We have here the VF, or the final velocity of an object, that is equal to initial velocity VI plus G, or the gravitational acceleration, times the time. Then we have also the second example, the final velocity squared equals initial velocity squared plus the 2 times the gravitational acceleration, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared, times the distance or the displacement. Displacement or distance equals initial velocity times time plus 1/2 times the gravitational acceleration, that's equal to this, times the time raised to 2. Okay? Ngayon, we need to understand what type of free fall motion is involved in a given problem. Because there are some problems, kasi free fall naman tong ganito. Meron tayong free fall na kung saan yung object ay nilaglag or the object is being dropped from a certain height. Dito galing yung object, then binagsak siya dito. Kapag downward ang direction natin, class, yung VI natin, kapag sinabing at rest, 0 ang initial velocity. Then we need to compute for the final velocity. Okay? You have to take note na yung initial velocity ay hindi laging 0. 0 ang ilalagay mo kapag at rest. Pero minsan may binibigay na initial velocity ng object. Okay? Hindi siya laging 0. Take note of that. Then, also, the gravitational acceleration. Pag sinabing gravitational acceleration, kada segundo, ito yung pagbabago sa bilis ng object habang nilalaglag siya. So, kung nilaglag siya, halimbawa, ang initial velocity natin ay, for example, ay 0. Sa first second niya, sa unang segundo niya, magkakaroon siya ng karagdagang bilis. Ang bilis nun ay 9.8 kasi yung gravitational acceleration natin ay 9.8 meter per second squared. Okay? Then also, yung 9.8 meter per second squared, pwedeng maging positive, pwedeng maging negative. Kasi diba sa uniform acceleration natin sa horizontal motion, kapag ka bumibilis, acceleration, pag bumabagal, deceleration. Kapag deceleration, negative. Meron din yan dito. Kapag ang gravitational acceleration natin, or kapag ang object natin ay nilaglag, tendency, pag nilalaglag mo ang object, from a certain height, bumibilis yan ng bumibilis hanggang sa makarinig siya dun sa ground, sa baba. Okay, so ibig sabihin, nag-a-accelerate yung object natin. So yan ay positive. Pero, kapag yung object natin ay paangat, binato natin, halimbawa, a pen is being, or a ball is being thrown upward, pataas mo siyang hinahagis. So vertical motion pa rin yan kasi pataas nga lang. So ang VI mo nandirito. Okay? Ang VI natin, class, yan yung hinahanap minsan. Okay? Ngayon, yung VF natin dito, ito ay automatically 0. Kasi, kapag nagbato ka ng object at pag na-reach niya na yung highest height niya, ang velocity niya ay magiging 0. Kaya nga pag nagbato tayo ng object, bumababa rin. Kasi nga pag na-reach niya na yung pinaka-highest height niya, bababa na siya. Ibig sabihin yung velocity niya from the highest height magiging 0. So take note, kapag binato mo yung object upward, pag ganito, the final velocity would always be equal to 0. Always. Then VI hinahanap natin. Okay? So, ganun yung class. Pag downward, VF ang hinahanap, VI given. Kapag upward naman class, ang VI yung hinahanap, then VF is always equal to 0. Kasi ibig sabihin niya, nag-stop. Okay, stop yung velocity ng object, and then bababa na siya ulit. Okay? No, now, the gravitational acceleration is still 9.8 meter per second squared. Parang ganito. Pero this time, negative. Kasi habang nagbabato ka ng, kapag binato mo yung object, yung velocity nun, hindi siya pabilis ng pabilis. Pabagal ng pabagal. Kaya negative ang ilalagay natin. Yun yung tatandaan natin dun. So, the velocity of the object decelerates once the object is being thrown upward. Kaya nga siya napupunta ng 0 kasi from a certain velocity, initial velocity, magiging 0, pababa ng pababa, nagiging 0 na. Kaya nalagay natin negative 9.8. So those are the things that we need to remember whenever we are solving problems that involve free fall motion. So para mas maintindihan natin, now let's have the first example. A stone is dropped from rest from the top of a tall building. After 3 seconds of fall, find displacement of stone or the distance. Letter B, velocity of the stone. So para mas magets natin to, i-underline natin yung mga given. A stone is dropped. So pag dinraman, nilaglag natin, downward ang direction natin. So ito yung gagamitin nating illustration. From rest. Yung rest natin, ibig sabihin ay VI is equal to 0. Okay? Next, after 3 seconds, so this is the time of fall, find the displacement. We need to find D. Then we also have to find the velocity. What kind of velocity? Is that initial or final? Since we have already here the VI, we are looking now for the final velocity. So, lagyan natin dito yung given. So, given natin, we have the VI equals 0 because of the word rest. Then, the time, 3 seconds. Then, meron tayo ditong given na automatic nating ilalagay for every problem na meron tayo regarding or that involve free fall motion. That is the gravitational acceleration. That is 9.8 meter per second squared. Ngayon, ito bang 9.8 ay positive or negative? So, since ang direction ng object natin ay pababa, ito yun. So, the gravitational acceleration would be positive. So, positive ilalagay nandito, not negative. Unless yung object mo pataas. Since pababa yan, positive. Next, let's look for the distance or displacement. So, gagamit tayo ng formula. Hanapin natin dito una, yung may letter D. So, ito yung may letter D dyan. Ano pa ba? So, yan lang naman. Tsaka to. So, you cannot use this, the first formula, kasi hindi mo makukuha dyan yung distance. Wala naman dyan distance or displacement. So, ngayon, let's look at this. Tignan natin yung mga kailangan sa formula nito para magamit siya. May VF ba tayo? Since wala tayong VF dito, we cannot use this. The second formula. Kasi walang VF, wala pang distance. So, bawal to. Kailangan isa lang yung nawawala. Ngayon, let's have this. May VI ba tayo? Yes. May time? Yes. May gravitational acceleration? Meron. Then the time is also present. So, gawin natin, using the formula. So, displacement or distance is equal to initial velocity times time plus 1/2 gt squared. Now, let's have the process of changing the values using the formula. So, displacement, yan yung nawawala. VI is 0. times the time, which is 3, plus 1/2 or 0.5 lagay natin. 0.5 is also equal to 1/2. 0.5 nilagay ko para madaling ilagay sa calculator. Then the G or the gravitational acceleration is 9.8. Then time is 3 squared. Then i-press natin sa calculator to. 0 times 3, cancel na yan. Kasi any number that is multiplied to 0 would become 0. Next, we also have 0.5 times 9.8 times 3 raised to 2. We all know that 3 raised to 2 is equal to 3 times 3 or that is equal to 9. Multiply natin the 1, 2, 3, itong tatlong numbers using the calculator. So, lagyan natin 0.5 times 9.8 times 9 is equal to 44.1. Since ang hinahanap natin ay displacement of stone, ito yun na yung sagot natin. 44.1. Yan ay distance. Pero pag sinabi natin displacement class, kasi ang displacement is a vector quantity. Kailangan meron siyang direction. Ito ay, ang displacement natin ay 44.1 downward. Okay, pwede mo rin itong isulat na negative 44.1. Kasi ang negative, ibig sabihin ay downward din yan. Kapag sa vertical motion. Pero pag distance lang, scalar quantity lang, you have to make your negative number as positive always. Kapag distance ang kailangan mo. So, 44.1. And what should be the unit? Ang unit ng distance natin dito ay meter. So, meter ang ginamit natin. So, 44.1 meters. Hindi mo pwede lagay ng over seconds kasi hindi naman to velocity. So, that's how you get the distance of the first example. Now, let's have the... Palagay natin dito, 44.1. Next, let's have the velocity of the stone or the VF. Letter B. Let's look for the final velocity. What formula can we use? Ito pa rin yung mga given natin na pwedeng gamitin. But the formula would be different. VF ang kailangan natin. Ito yon. May mga VF. 1, 2, pwede yan. So, since may VI naman tayo, so pwede to. May gravitational acceleration. We also have the time. We can use the first formula. So, formula, we have VF is equal to VI plus gravitational acceleration times time. So, VF, copy lang, equals. Initial velocity ay 0 because of the word rest. At rest. 0. Then, ito plus, the gravitational acceleration is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared. The time is 3. So, cancel nyo na yung 0 na yan. Hindi na kailangan. Then, multiply lang natin to. 9.8 times 3. That is equal to 29.4. What should be the unit? Since it is a velocity, you have to put here meter per second as the unit of your answer. Huwag kayo maglalagay ng square dito kasi yun ay pang acceleration. At velocity lang kailangan natin. So the speed of the object that is being dropped from a certain height is 29.4 meter per second downward. This could also be written as negative 29.4 kasi velocity, ang velocity ay vector quantity. Pwede mong isulat na negative 29.4. Pero huwag mo na ilagay na downward kasi may negative ka na. Then meter per second. Pero ito, pwede na rin to. 29.4 meter per second downward. Pwede mo lang isulat siyang negative kasi velocity naman yan. Pag velocity may direction. Yung mga sign natin ang nagsisignify ng direction natin. So, next, let's have the second example. We're done with this. Second example, let's have this. If a marble is dropped from a height of 56 meters, comma, find the time it hits the ground and the velocity when it hits the ground. So let's have the given. If a marble is dropped from a height of 56 meters, so drop na naman yan, the direction is downward. 56 meters, it is the given of, or the given distance or displacement. The height yan yung height pala, height. Or height. Pero denoted as letter D. So, ang hinahanap natin is the time when it hits the ground, then velocity when it hits the ground. Etong velocity na to is the, again, final velocity yan. Kasi pagka nag-drop tayo, ang lagi naman natin hinahanap ay yung final velocity. So, wala tayong binigay na initial velocity, automatically 0 yun. Okay? Kasi from rest yun. Kahit walang binanggit na rest dito, magiging 0 yung initial velocity mo. Kasi wala naman binanggit dyan na initial velocity. So, lagay natin dito given. So, the first given, lagay natin to, VI is equal to 0 kasi wala nang binanggit na velocity. Then, the distance or the height is 56 meters. Then, we also have the automatically given, which is the gravitational acceleration that is equal to 9.8 meter per second. Is it going to be negative or positive? Since yan ay downward drop, so ang sign ng acceleration mo ay positive. Pag naglaglag ka, pabilis ng pabilis yan, kaya positive. So next, ang hinahanap is the time and the final velocity. So let's look for the time first. Paano ba yon? Hanapin natin sa formula yung time. Meron tong time, class. Ito yung first. The second has also time. So, alin dyan sa dalawa? May VF ba tayo? Para magamit yung formula na to, kailangan may VF. May VF. Wala tayong VF dito, so we cannot use this. We cannot use this. So, the formula to be used is the third formula. So, lagayan dito. Formula, D equals VI T plus 0.5. 0.5 din itong 1/2. Then, G T squared. Palitan natin. D is equal to 56. Lagay lang dito. Isolated siya. Same D. Then VI is 0 times the time. Wala tayong time, kaya lagay lang natin time. Ayan o. Plus 0.5. Gravitational acceleration is equal to 9.8. Then time squared. Kapag yung 0, may katabing value, cancel sila kasi that is already equal to 0. Okay, so 56 equals 0.5 times 9.8. Lagay natin sa calculus. 0.5 times 9.8. That is equal to 4.9. So, huwag nyo nalagay yung plus ha. 4.9 na lang. Then, T squared. Kapag may ganito class, meron tayong variable na nawawala yung time. Then, may katabing value. Ang gagawin nyo ay divide both sides by 4.9. So, cancel yung 4.9 equals, matitira dito ay T squared. So, 56 divided by 4.9. Again, 56 divided by 4.9, that is equal to 11.40 428 nakalagay, so 43 na lang. 43. 2 decimal places. We're not yet done because we still have to get the value of time, not the time squared. So get the square root of this para mawala yung 2. So cancel na yan, yung raised to 2 equals time na lang to. So yun na, square root na lang natin to para makuha yung sagot. Square root ng 11.43, that is equal to 3.38. Then since time yan, the unit that you will be using is the unit of time, which is seconds. Seconds kasi meter per seconds to. Huwag mong gamitin R kasi hindi naman to meter per hour. So 3.38 seconds. This is the time. 3.38. Now let's have the final velocity. Okay? The final velocity, to solve for that is, we need the formula again. Final velocity, let's have this. May final velocity ang hinahanap. Meron ba tayong initial? Yes, meron na tayong gravitational acceleration. Then we found out already the time. So may time na rin tayo, 3.38. So therefore, we can already use this. So Vf equals to Vi plus Gt. Walang square da, Gt lang. Vf, copy, equals the initial velocity would be equal to 0 plus gravitational acceleration is 9.8. Then the time is 3.38. So tanggalin nyo na yung 0 ulit kasi 0 lang yan. Mumultiply lang natin to. 9.8 times 3.38, that is equal to this, 33.12. So the final velocity is equal to 33.12. The unit is meter per second. Yan ang unit ng velocity. So final answer. So we're done in number 2. We got already the time and the final velocity. Let's proceed with the third example, last example. This time, a ball is thrown upward with a velocity of 18 meter per second. So, since ito ay thrown upward, pataas naman ang direction. So, ito yung illustration na gagamitin natin. Ito. Okay? Ang illustration na yan, nagsasabi na yung gravitational acceleration mo na gagamitin ay negative 9.8. Kasi pabagal ng pabagal yan. Then, there is a given which is 0, yung final velocity. Kasi pag nagbato ka, pag na-reach niya yung maximum height niya, magiging 0 yung velocity. Kaya i-stop siya doon, then bababa na ulit. So, what are the given? Automatically, upward yan. So, meron tayong Vf equal to 0. Basta pag upward, automatically Vf is equal to 0. Okay, itong velocity na yan, yan yung initial velocity. That is 18 meter per second. Next, find the highest height. So, ang hinahanap yung height or the displacement or the distance. Then, we also have to find the time. So, the time here is missing also. Then, there is also another given which is the gravitational acceleration. Since upward yan, ang gagamitin mo ay negative 9.8 meter per second squared. So next, kung natin yung distance o yung height, yung distance na makuha mo, yun din yung height. So, hanap tayo ng formula na pwede magamit. So, yung una, wala namang distance yan, so you cannot use the first formula. Second formula, may distance dito, pero check natin yung mga kailangan. May Vf ba? Yes. May Vi? Yes. May gravitational acceleration, so meron. Pwede mo nang gamitin to. So, ang formula na gagamitin mo, ay tingnan natin to. Ito, distance din to. May Vi ba tayo? Yes. May time? Walang time, so we cannot use this. Ito yung gagamitin mo, pangalawa. So, Vf squared equals to Vi squared plus 2gd. So, copy natin Vf 0. So, magiging 0 squared. Na tayo. Next, Vi equals, ang Vi natin 18 squared. Vi squared plus 2. Ang G natin ay negative 9.8. Negative 9.8 times the distance o yung height natin. So, ngayon, itong 0 squared ay 0 na lang yan. Next, itong 18 squared, i-compute natin yan. 18 squared, that is equal to, sa calculator ay 324. Then ito, times natin tong dalawa. 2 times negative 9.8, that is equal to negative 19.6. Instead na plus, gawin natin minus, kasi ang negative ang magiging sagot dito eh. Negative 19.6d. Then ito, 0 na lang to. 0 yan ah. So kasi 0 squared is 0. So ito, ang sunod mo gagawin, itong 324, ibabalibag mo sa kabila. It will change the sign. So magiging negative 324 equals, matitira dito ay negative 19.6D. Then divide both sides natin by negative 19.6, parehas. I-divide both sides mo sa number ng sa number na katabi ng variable na hinahanap mo. So cancel to. Then ito divide lang natin. So negative 324 divided by negative 19.6. The answer is this. Di-divide mo lang yan. 16.53. That is the height. So ang height natin ay 16.53. Let's look for the time now. So the time, the formula to be used could either be, tingnan natin to. First formula, may VF tayo, yes. May VI, yes. Meron tayong gravitational acceleration, of course, then the time. So pwede natin gamitin yung pinakauna. So formula, VF is equal to VI plus GT. Next, let's have this VF, palitan natin 0, equals the VI is 18 plus the gravitational acceleration is negative 9.8. Negative kasi pataas tayo, upward ang direction. Then the time is missing. So ang gawin natin, ganito lang din. Etong 18, balibag natin sa kabila, magiging negative 18. Equals negative 9.8 times t. So yung 18 wala na, binalibag mo dito, ito na siya. Negative 9.8, tinanggal lang natin yung mga parentheses. Then divide both sides by negative 9.8 para mahanap natin si time. Negative 9.8. So divide natin yung dalawa. Negative 18 divided by negative 9.8. The answer is 1.84. Then the time unit is seconds. That is the time. So that's it. We're done with the computation of our third example. And then we're also done discussing all the examples or sample problems involving free fall motion. I hope that you learned something from this video. Don't forget to subscribe and wait for my next video for you to learn and have fun in mathematics. Thank you.